Hey, what is going on guys? Danny here. Hope you've all been doing well. In this video, I'll be talking about some really interesting and exciting rumors that have recently surfaced surrounding AMD's upcoming Vega architecture. Now just as a disclaimer, all of this needs to be taken with a grain of salt. Don't get too excited and start setting your expectations high, as we've heard nothing officially from AMD. Now moving on to the rumors, the source for this comes from videocards.com. I'll have a link down in the video description for anyone interested. Now they state that these details come from a very good and reliable source. A source which confirmed the mobile Polaris specs weeks before it came out. Now take that as you may like. What I'm personally going to do is just sit tight until AMD says something before I can make any kind of conclusions or a decision here. So the first piece of information they had was in regards to Vega 10. First they mentioned the release date of Vega 10, which will be apparently in the first quarter of 2017. Now looking back at the roadmap AMD showed off from their capsaicin event in March, this information aligns with what VideoCards is claiming, that Vega 10 will be available around 2017. However, this information is subjected to change, so you never know, the release could have actually been pushed back. They also stated that Vega 10 will offer 24 teraflops 16-bit computing power and 64 compute units. Holy crap. Similarly to Polaris, Vega 10 will be based on the 14nm GFX9 architecture. Along with that, it will host 16GB of HBM2 memory and a bandwidth of 512GB per second. This card will also have a TDP of 225 watts. They also mentioned the possibility of a dual Vega 10 GPU that could be released in the second quarter of 2017, but I'm not too sure about that as I've heard actually nothing about it. Similarly, the next thing that they mention is quite intriguing and surprising because they talk about Vega 20, which wasn't something we had information of or even knew it existed. There was the mention of Vega 10 and there was a mention of Vega 11. So Vega 20 was just something that caught everyone by surprise. Vega 20 will use the 7nm GFX9 architecture with the 7nm process yields from GlobalFoundries. It will feature 32 freaking gigabytes of HBM2 memory with a bandwidth of 1TB per second and a TDP of just 150 watts. Vega 20 will also have 64 compute units, will support PCI Express Generation 4.0. A considerable amount of next-gen stuff here, which honestly I wasn't expecting to hear about until 2018. The last few details they had to share was that Vega 11 will be on the same fabrication node as Vega 10, and that NAVI 10 and NAVI 11, the architecture which comes after Vega, will be planned for 2019. Also, to clarify, GFX 9 is just an internal codename for Vega. For example, GFX 7 was referred to as Hawaii, and GFX 8 was referred to as Polaris. Now going back to Vega 10, I honestly was not expecting it to be boasting the specs that VideoCards is claiming it will have. I expected maybe 8GB of HBM2 for a base model, and then maybe have like another version of it with 12GB at most. As for the computing power, that's quite a lot, and a huge leap from the Fury X, which was like, what, 8.5 teraflops of floating point performance? So to put that more into perspective, the recently released Titan X, or Titan XP, whatever you want to call it, has 11 teraflops, the GTX 1080 has 9 teraflops, and the 1070 has 6.5 teraflops. But again, you guys can't really compare a number of teraflops each graphics card has from different architectures, but I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what we might be dealing with here. What I think is going on is that since AMD basically skipped out on this generation for the high-end and enthusiast market, they're deciding on pumping out cards that will compete against Nvidia's next generation of graphics architecture, Volta. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. I think this is actually the smarter decision for AMD to make. Initially, I thought that Vega 10 will have 2 chips, a full and cut version like Polaris 10, and which would yield like an RX 490 and then an RX 490X or 495, depending on what they call it. Those 2 cards will compete with the GTX 1070 and 1080 respectively. Meanwhile, when the launch of Vega 11 will happen, it will yield 2 chips just like the Vega 10, cut and full version to compete against the Titan XP and 1080 Ti, just like how we had a Fury X and just a regular Fury. Maybe they'll call it like a Rage X2 or a Rage or a Fury X2 or a Fury X or a Fury 2. I don't know. However, if we take a look at Nvidia's roadmap, their next set of GPUs based on the architecture after Pascal, Volta, is predicted to arrive late 2017 or early 2018. Again, these roadmaps are always subjected to change, so do keep that in mind. Now, since we know that Vega will arrive within the first half of 2017, competing against the next gen would be the best thing to do. I definitely think that this is actually a smarter choice. If you think about it, NVIDIA launched their set of Pascal GPUs in June of 2016, so they've had them out for quite a long time to stay dominant in that high-end and enthusiast section of the market. For those people who wanted to upgrade to something more powerful and high-end, regardless of whatever they had before, I'm sure they would have done so by now, or are planning to within the next couple of months. So with that said, it wouldn't really make sense for AMD to just release cards which will offer performance that was already available to the market the previous year. Think about it, there probably wouldn't be that many people interested if they ended up offering performance at a similar level. Maybe the die-hard fans, and God help them please if it was actually worse than that. So I think AMD should move forward with the intention of competing with the next generation stuff. If AMD competed with Pascal, then NVIDIA would have Volta right around the corner and then just demolish them. So I'm really hoping that with the Vega 10, we see some pretty high-end level performance. That we will see cards offer amazing price to performance ratio, something that the current cards are nowhere near. I currently have my sights set on the Vega 10 GPU, as I wanted something that can push my 1440p 144Hz monitor to its limits. Honestly, if I had gotten a regular 1440p or 144Hz monitor, or found a good deal on a G.SKILL monitor, then I most likely would have just sprung for a 1070 or a 1080. However, I found a pretty decent deal on the XL2730Z, which is a FreeSync monitor. Basically, FreeSync is AMD's adaptive refresh technology, but I'm sure you guys know that. Now, my 390 has been holding up pretty well, but I do find myself having to turn some settings down, and if push comes to shove, I have to use my overclock settings. So as you guys can probably tell, I've been kind of longing for an upgrade here. Vega 20 was something that really caught me off guard as well. I mean, 32 gigabytes of HBM2 is something I can't even begin to fathom right now. Like, who would even take advantage of that much VRAM? I mean, sure, there's probably developers and workstation applications which would benefit from that amount of VRAM, but I mean, gamers, I'm sure the workstation and developers already have like Fire Pro cards that they already use. Now, since they mentioned the possibility of Vega 20 being based on the 7nm process, that would actually be pretty likely, considering there were many articles last month which said that GlobalFoundries will be skipping the 10nm process and instead focusing right on the 7nm process instead for 2018. So Vega 20 is packing a lot of next-gen stuff we won't actually see for a while. So I'm assuming cards based on this chip won't really be here until like 2018. So anyways guys, that's pretty much all the information that was given and what I had to say in regards to all the rumors surrounding Vega. I hope that some of this information turns out to be true. I for one am looking very forward to Vega, really excited to see what the red team pumps out for the high end. I'll in fact purchase one ticket for the hype train. But remember, these are just rumors, wait for official news, and more importantly, wait for real benchmarks. Well guys, I hope you guys found this video enjoyable and informative. If you did, leave a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts or comments down below in the comment section. And if you want to see more Vega related news, then hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.